combines messaging with credibility. So confidence turns into conversations and conversations into growth. Authority begins with clarity. Please help me welcome Jared Talmadge.
Woo. Okay, let's try and share screen here. Okay, I think this is working. Can you guys see this now? I think, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get started here since I only have about 20 minutes. So, okay, that is not. Can you see my slides on the side, or is this just getting the big one here? Let's see.
I can see the sides on the slide too.
Okay, that's not working the way I wanted to. Stop share. Sorry about that. This is tech is not my thing. So here, let's try this. Documents. How about screens? Okay, I don't know what he's got going on here. You know what? We're just gonna go with. You guys can see my mic. You can see the PowerPoint's fine. Whatever. We'll go with that and call it good. So, let's see. Come on, let me see. So start the slideshow. Maybe that'll work. Okay. All right. So I'm Jared Talmadge. This is LinkedIn marketing misalignment. How your messages and your profile might be working against one another. So let's see. So what I want to talk about real quick is this is not a LinkedIn tips class. This is about clarity. And so this is about a clarity check. And so the idea here is I'm basically going to talk to you about what the things that people do that kind of sabotage their LinkedIn profile without even being aware of it, and then how you can fix it. So let's remove this here. Okay. So let's first talk about this. The real problem that most people have with LinkedIn is most people that think that they have a problem, and their problem is either LinkedIn or it's content. And what I mean by that is when people are looking at this, they're saying, "Oh, well, the reason I'm not getting the reason I'm not getting calls, the reason I'm not getting people reaching out to me is because of my content." No, it's not LinkedIn's platform problem. It's not your content problem. It's a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, it's an engagement problem." No, it's not really an engagement problem either. What it is you have a message conflict. And what I mean by that is what people say what they think they're saying on LinkedIn versus what they're actually saying on LinkedIn are two completely different things. And so we're going to demonstrate kind of how that works very quickly here. And so why LinkedIn is making your message worse. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of this way. Unlike most of the social media platforms, LinkedIn is not a storytelling platform, okay? It is a first compression engine, which means that people go to find you on LinkedIn because they want you to solve a problem for them. They want to know immediately from reading your profile that one, you understand their problem, two, you understand them, and third, you can fix whatever it is they're looking for. Now, most people don't treat LinkedIn that way. They see LinkedIn as, well, it's just a resume site and it's there to just illustrate what I'm going to do or I'm going to get a job. That's not really what you're looking for. So when people show up on LinkedIn, and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to start scanning profiles looking for somebody to fix their problem, they're looking for certainty. Okay. And most people don't offer certainty when it comes to LinkedIn. So if your message and your profile disagree, the problem is immediately that your confusion will automatically win, and the person will naturally assume whatever the worst possible thing they can assume, that's where they're going to go. And so if your message says, I help people sell things, and then you get into your profile and it's talking about you, and it's talking about what you've done in your past career that has nothing to do with that, now people are kind of concerned and they're kind of worried and wondering what's going on. So this is how you can tell if that's happening to you. This is what I call the polite failure, right? You'll recognize these as responses that you get on LinkedIn. And this is also what I would say LinkedIn sounds like when you're misaligned. Okay. So if this sounds like you, chances are you probably have a misalignment problem. If you're getting people saying to you, "Oh, well, it's very interesting what you do, but tell me more sometime." There's no urgency there. There's no drive for somebody to say, okay, I want to know what you're doing right now. I want to know how you can fix this right now. They'll tell you, oh, well, it's interesting sometimes. Tell me about it sometimes. Or the classic, love what you're doing. This is like we've all been in high school and we all got those. We all had yearbooks, and in your yearbook they would sign it. And I might be dating myself now that I realize it, but they all sign your yearbook and says "Have a great summer." That was like a total blow off, right? You knew that that person didn't really say anything, but it was like this polite blow off of saying, "I have nothing that I really know about you, and I have nothing I really can say to you, so I'm just going to say, well, have a great summer." Yeah, you always knew who your friends were because your friends were like, "Hey, by the way, we did this, this, and this." You got, "Oh, have a great summer." Well, thanks for that. That's helpful. Or we should stay connected. That's another way of doing it. LinkedIn is classic for that. Oh, we should stay connected. And that's usually coming after somebody has contacted you, and as soon as you connect with them, they were like, "Hey, I want to talk to you because we might be able to do some kind of business together. We might be able to refer people to you, or vice versa." And you're like, "Hey, this is really cool. Maybe I found somebody who is possibly going to work with me." And then they tell you, "Well, we should stay connected." Okay, well, that is the LinkedIn dating equivalent of "it's not you, it's me," right? They just don't want to do it. So here's the thing. When it comes to LinkedIn, if you get attention without traction, you're getting recognition without movement. And quite frankly, if you don't have movement, you don't have anything. Because ultimately, what you have in LinkedIn is the biggest database the world has ever seen. But if you can't get anybody to do anything about it, what good is it? So we're going to kind of illustrate how to fix that. So when your LinkedIn and your marketing conflict, right? So your marketing says one thing, your LinkedIn profile says another. What wins? Well, the right people are going to hesitate, right? The people that you want to call you are not going to call you. The wrong people are going to engage with you, i.e., the people that say, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And then they assume naturally that because you said yes to connecting, that means that you should go sell them on something, or they should come sell you something, and that's not how it works. You can tell if LinkedIn's not working because you're not getting referral business. I will tell you, after 15 years of teaching this class, you get referral business from LinkedIn. It's absolutely possible. And when it does happen, it's great because all of a sudden it's like the sales gods have dropped a gift from the sky and said, "Here, look, here's money." So referrals stall. So if that's not happening, it's probably because you're misaligned. And then here's the biggest problem. This is the part that is probably the most true and also the most painful. You can't tell if it usually can't tell if you're misaligned when you're in it because you're too close to it. Okay? You can't see your blind spots. That's why they're called blind spots. And so you'll notice momentum disappears. And so what we have here is just like fixing the profile, just fixing your profile is not going to work. So I'm just going to tell you straight out. If somebody says to you, "Hey, I want to fix your profile for you," but they don't sit down and have a conversation with you or ask you any level of in-depth questions about what's going on, they're not actually going to fix anything because it's kind of like building a house. If you don't fix the foundation on which everything is built on, you simply don't have the availability to build anything up above it that will actually stay that way. And so when you're talking about optimization, the message is fine. It just needs to be polished. Yet that's a giveaway that they just want to deal with the surface level stuff and not necessarily the other stuff. And it's also not usually true. Okay. Because if your message is not right, it's because what you put out as the foundation isn't getting the traction that you're looking for. So, hey, back up, skip to the side. So you can't optimize a contradiction. So think of it this way. If you are in your LinkedIn profile and your profile is not drawing people, it's because there's a contradiction somewhere. Chances are you're probably too close to it. Chances are you probably can't see it and you're not able to find it. And then just redoing your content or rewriting your profile or changing your job title, it's not going to do anything because you're only amplifying the misalignment. And that's where people go wrong is they amplify the misalignment and they go, "Wait a minute, but I fixed how it looks and it's pretty." It's not about being pretty. It's about being effective. And so again, this is where I tell people straight out, I see this every day. You cannot know what your audience is seeing without having somebody else come outside of it and look at it and say, "Hey, let's pay attention to what You're not, what you're seeing is one thing. What I'm seeing as a potential client is something totally different. And if that's the case, it's kind of hard for you to be able to see it from your own perspective because you're too close to it. And so that's why that gap is invisible from the inside, which is why I do, which is why I basically do what I do here. This because smart professionals don't realize, say, hey, I'm bad. They're not bad at marketing. They're bad at understanding that there's a blind spot in their marketing that's causing them to have problems, i.e., your message is not aligned. So before you change anything, this is what I recommend. So when I talk about changing something, I'm saying before you change your headline, before you change, you start posting more, right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to post more, you got to post more, you post more. Here's the truth. LinkedIn is better off if you post 3 times a week. Not 5, not 7, not 14, 3. Because otherwise you're overwhelming people too much. If you're going to hire somebody to do this for you, but don't do that yet. Okay, don't do that until you kind of get this other stuff. And for God's sake, don't follow somebody else's framework that says this is how it works, because they don't know anything about you. If they haven't talked to you, they don't know anything about you. This is the question you want to start with. Does my marketing message and my LinkedIn profile agree or quietly conflict? The chances are you're not going to see that, but that's the question you want to start with. Is, do they conflict? So now, what I basically am willing to do for you guys, and this is not a sales pitch disguised as something else. Okay, I do actually what's called a free pre-diagnosis, and what that is I will actually take your LinkedIn profile and I will look at it and I will take basically from some questions that I will ask you. I will actually take that information and provide you with a no cost evaluation. And again, I want to be real clear. This is not a sales pitch. I'm not doing this because I expect you to do anything. If you take this, you take the insight and you're good, cool. If you want to go further, that's okay too. But this is what I do. I will look at where your messaging and your profile conflict. Because again, you're not in a situation where you're looking at this saying, I can see it, because you can't. You're too close to it. I will look for where your meaning breaks down based on a questionnaire that I will ask you and say, let's talk about that information. Let's talk about what you want to do, and then let's talk about how we can fix it. I will actually tell you if you have a misalignment, because there is a possibility that you don't. It might simply be something else. And if that's the case, then I'm simply going to provide you with information and say, look, you're not misaligned. It's probably something else. This is not something that I can do for you, and or I can charge for. I'm not going to charge you to do something that you don't need fixed. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't help. And I also tell you this, my pre-diagnosis is not rewriting. It's not tactics and it's not a pitch. It is simply, this is where you are right now. That is kind of how I build business. That's how I talk to people. And so I kind of look at that and say, let's talk about this from that perspective, because what I'm going to give you is the clarity to say the reason that this is not working for you, the reason you are not getting the people you want, the reason that when you post something or you post a newsletter, you do some other stuff, if it's not gaining traction, it's probably because your marketing is misaligned. And I'll give you an example of this. 2 weeks ago, I launched my new newsletter called Looks Fine, Does Nothing. In that, I started from 0 subscribers. I deleted all of my subscribers from all my other newsletters, deleted all my other stuff. And I said, all right, I am going to go out on a limb and I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to say this is going to work. And I had just spent a whole bunch of time realigning my LinkedIn profile. And what's happened is this has grown faster than any other list that I've had, and I'm getting more traction, more information, more people talking to me than ever has before. And that's because that I basically realized as I was talking to somebody about misalignment, I realized my own profile was misaligned. So I had to pull it back and change it up. And so this is just kind of one of those things that we do. So I've gone through this pretty quick, but the idea was I wanted to have some time to kind of answer some questions for you guys about anything that you might want to know about LinkedIn. We can look at one of your profiles if you'd like. I can basically give you, just kind of a preview of what I do. But my goal is when you get a pre-diagnosis with me, you will know when you're done if a misalignment exists. You will know where it's happening. I will tell you what not to do next, right? And if a full diagnosis makes sense, I'll explain why. And if it doesn't, I'll do that too. So the idea is basically, again, give you the information that can help you build something bigger that actually will bring people from LinkedIn to you. So if this feels like a familiar issue to you, or if it's not effort and it's not consistency, it's alignment. And so as that goes, like I said, I'm more than happy to answer some questions. And then I also have a website which I'm willing to give you guys here, which is my website is authority-inc.com. And if you look for it, on the top, it has LinkedIn misalignment as a button. You can click on that, it'll take you right to the questionnaire and you can fill it out. And then within the next 48 to 72 hours, I will actually go in and look at your LinkedIn and I will prepare you a whole profile that says this is what's going on. Now, just to kind of be aware, this is like a 7 or 8 page document that you get. So it's pretty in depth. It pretty much tells you this is what's going on, this is what I see. And it's based on a questionnaire that takes about 10 minutes to do. Also, just so you guys know, I'm doing coming next month, I'm doing classes on LinkedIn. My class is called Looks Fine doesn't work or doesn't do anything. It is going to be a class all about how marketing misalignment will change your business and what you need to know. So it's an actually expanded version of a new class that I've written for that. And again, I'm here to kind of answer some questions about LinkedIn. Because like I said, I've been teaching this for 15 years. I've been on LinkedIn since it started in 2006, I think. So I've been around for a long time with that. But is there any specific questions I can ask you guys want to know about how marketing works, how marketing with LinkedIn works, stuff that I can just answer off the top kind of thing?
I had a general question,
Sure.
Jared, regarding, thank you for the information. I get a lot of impressions and I
Okay.
don't get a lot of engagement. So what exactly does that mean?
So impressions means that people are seeing what you're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean they're engaging what they're doing. So, for example, the first way you can tell that you're in a situation where you want to be is your impressions will go up because it's basically a measurement of how many people are seeing your stuff every week. And so the first place I always look for is I look to see how many impressions have you had a week, and does that equate to more or less than the number of people you would normally see in a week? Because I can tell you, from example, if you're getting 50 or 100 impressions a week, that's really low. If you're getting in the thousands of impressions a week, now you're doing better. And then anything above about 2,000 to 3,000 impressions, you're just on fire. So the difference is now the other number you want to look for in that will tell you how you're doing is next to that is the number that says followers.
Mhm.
What that is those are people on LinkedIn who have raised their hand and said, I'm interested in what you're doing, so I'm going to follow you. And it's basically that means you're going to show what you post is likely to show up in their feed when they're
Mhm.
doing something.
Thank you.
Questions, guys? No?
Well, full transparency, Jared, I'm still learning LinkedIn. I've had LinkedIn for years, but I've never really done anything with it.
Mhm.
So, coming to the session is really giving me something to think about, about how I would like to utilize it, what engagement means to me,
Right.
and what I want, my LinkedIn page to be and what I want to get out of it. So,
So
I'm probably hit you up for sure.
one of the things I would suggest, okay, is when you're on LinkedIn, and if one of the fastest ways to get people that you're interested in talking to talk to you about LinkedIn is through what's called the newsletter app. There's actually a newsletter app inside of LinkedIn, and how this works is basically this. So you go to LinkedIn. When you log in to your LinkedIn, it just shows up, and then of course it has that little box on the top, right? And it says, write it, what's on your mind, click here, whatever. There's a button that says write article. Okay. And this is something new that LinkedIn put in, God, I think 2, 3 years ago. But anyway, if you hit click write article, okay, it'll pop up and it'll look like you got an article. But up on the top, there's a little button that says manage. Okay. If you click manage and you have over 150 connections, when you click manage, there's a little button that will say newsletters. Like on the drop down, it'll say newsletters. Okay. This is where LinkedIn gets really cool because this is one of the secret things that LinkedIn does to help you build business. Okay. So if you go down to that thing and it says newsletters, you can go create a newsletter. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up a sequence. And that sequence is going to tell you you can start a newsletter. And it's going to ask you a bunch of questions about a newsletter. But here's where this gets really cool. So a newsletter doesn't have to be like the 80s version of the newsletter where it's a printed thing and it's all these boxes. It can just literally, it's literally your blog on LinkedIn. But here's where it gets really cool. So you go in, you create the thing and you put it in the image and you give it a title and it says how often you're going to write it. And you're like, oh my gosh, this sounds great. And then it just works like a word processor, right? You put in a picture and you put in your headline and then you write something. Well, two things that we want to talk about. First, when you do a newsletter, at the bottom of the page, no matter how long or short it is, it could be a paragraph, it could be a line, it could be a whole whatever. At the bottom of the page, you want to put in a little dash bar and you want to say about the author. And then you want to talk about yourself. This is where you get to sell yourself in your newsletter because you don't know where this newsletter is going to go. Okay. When it goes online, you have no idea where it's going to go. It's just going to go out to the world. Well, you put in your newsletter and you want to say things like, this is my name. This is what I do. This is why I do it. And then, and people always balk at this. Put in your email address, your phone number, and how to contact you. And then if you have a freebie that you're giving away, put it in there. Here's why I tell you this, okay? So you put this at the bottom of every newsletter. What you should do is save this piece and keep it on your computer so you just copy and paste it every time. Well, when you hit send to publish this, okay, two things happen. One, every single friend, every person that you have that's a connection in LinkedIn is going to get a notice that you just started a newsletter and get them invited, and they're going to get invited to follow your newsletter. LinkedIn will do that for you absolutely free. It's not part of the premium. It just does it. Now, it also contacts your followers. The people that are where it says the followers at the beginning of your page, it contacts all those people as well. And it says, hey, by the way, pay attention. This is something you want to pay attention to. You are following this person. What happens is you wind up getting subscribers. And then what happens is as you do that, LinkedIn will start paying attention to who's subscribing to you. And the more people that subscribe to your newsletter, they will go out. LinkedIn will take that profile. They'll build a profile of the perfect person for you. And then they'll go out and find more people for you that look like that person.
Nice.
And so all of a sudden, LinkedIn starts building your business for you. And you don't even know what's happening because they don't tell anybody they're doing it. But all of a sudden, you get more and more and more subscribers. And so the next time you post, everybody gets a notice. Hey, you just did a newsletter. Go pay attention. And now what happens? Now I'll tell you this. What happens after a little while is you'll start noticing that people start following you, or people start reaching out to you and say, "Hey, I read something in your newsletter," and you're like, "I don't know where this person came from." I've gotten messages from Europe. I've gotten messages from Asia. I've gotten messages from Australia. I actually talked to an author who wrote a New York Times bestselling book about networking, and he contacted me through LinkedIn because he read my newsletter.
Nice.
And then he called me. We had a coaching session. Normally he charges $5,000 for a coaching session. She's like, I'll do it for free because I like what you're writing. I'm like, okay. But I've gotten clients. I've gotten on podcasts. I've gotten with this. I mean, Dr. Brian, I knew Dr. Brian before Dr. Brian was doctor. He was just Brian, and he was one of my employees a couple of years ago. But again, you don't know where that's going to go. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't know where it's going to go and you just put it out there. And so again, take the passion, take the thing you're most passionate about and write about it. And then put that thing on the bottom that just says, and this is how you can work with me. Because again, you don't have to be big or viral on LinkedIn. You just have to have a presence. And like I said, the biggest thing is post or comment 3 times a week. That's it. That's all it takes. You don't have to do this 20, 30, 40 minutes a day thing that everybody tells you have to do, because nobody has time for that. Mm-hmm. But if you think about that, you say, hey, this is the best part that you need to pay attention to, then that's what you do. And that's where all of a sudden it starts bringing in clients. And talk about what you do. Talk about how you do it. Talk about the fact that you want to, you offer a service. People will start finding you because, again, think of it as this is a giant room with what 100 million people in it, and they're all looking for something. Chances are somebody's looking for what you do.
Nice.
So yeah, try the newsletters. You'll be amazed.
Great advice. Thank you.
So one other question, do you find that there's more of an advantage if you have a premium account with LinkedIn as compared to the free?
The answer is it depends on what you want to do with it. And so I will say this. If you want to network, so for example, you want to send out 100 or so contact requests for connections a week, then yes, premium is absolutely worth it. If you are looking for people to sell to, try Sales Navigator. I think it's like $120 a month or whatever it is. You get a free month. But what that does, Sales Navigator, the thing I will tell you about this when it comes to premium versus Sales Navigator. Premium gives you a couple of things that you can like do. You can get like you can request connections to more people. Sales
Mhm.
Navigator is where you really build a list. Where if you want to say, and one of the things I tell people about Sales Navigator is try the free trial, go into Sales Navigator and type in whatever it is you're looking for. Okay, so if it's like, let's say you want vice presidents, right? You type in vice presidents, it pops out a list. Well, in the left side, it has all these categories of things that you can kind of filter out of. One, if you scroll to the bottom, one of the things it says is active on LinkedIn or recently posted on LinkedIn. If you click that, now it's going to take all the people that you found on this list, and there's probably thousands upon thousands of them, and it'll drop it down to just the people that are active on LinkedIn. The reason that's important is because when you do that, now you're only talking to people that are actively engaged on LinkedIn. They're more likely to respond to you. So for that reason, it simply depends on what you're going to do with LinkedIn and why you're going to use it. I had Sales Navigator for a long time. I used it; it was great. But what I do now, I don't really like it, so I don't use it. But the premium thing is like I think $30 a month. All it does is it gives you more ability to connect with people. So if you're looking to expand quickly, yes. If you're looking to just do kind of some of the stuff I'm talking about, you don't need it. I've gone years without it. I pop into Sales Navigator when it's convenient, and then they give me a month free. And then when you go into cancel, they'll try and sell it. They'll drop the price. And so never just kind of just let it run because there's no point. You can always get it free or come back in a month. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
yeah. Other questions? No?
Yeah, I don't have any questions really, Jared, but I really definitely appreciate this. I'm going to be reaching out to you. If you wanted to annihilate a LinkedIn profile publicly, I will gladly give mine up to annihilate. But I see your time is
Tell
turning.
you what, just like I said, go on my site at authority.inc.com, fill out the LinkedIn misalignment, and I'll give you probably more information you ever wanted to know. And I just got to give you guys an idea of what it is because I got like a minute left. Um, I just did this for a guy who was a some kind of command sergeant in the army forever and a day, and then he left, and now he's selling insurance. Here's the thing that I noticed about his: he had 15 years of command experience at places like the Pentagon, at NORAD, at North, at all these big defense places that like you can't be bad at leadership if you're going here. Like you have to be good at what you're doing. And what I saw with his was an immediate message disconnect where he was saying, "Look, I'm selling insurance." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you're ignoring your entire military career where you protected basically the world, right? Or the country. So now you're connecting and you're protecting families, but you never say that. You never talk about it. You don't talk about that. I mean, like, he had an inherent sales pitch, which was, "Hey, I'm here and I'm good and I've done all these things." Well, he was guarding the nuclear codes, right? He was doing all this major defense stuff, and now he's selling insurance. And it's like, well, how did you get from one to the other? And part of it was he just didn't communicate how he got from one to the other. And so people would go, "Oh, well, he's just another insurance salesman." And I'm like, dude, you've got so much potential here to build a business based on who you actually are. And he just hadn't thought of it. He couldn't see it because he was too close to it. And so that's basically what I help people do. But like I said, I appreciate your time, guys. And I guess we'll see you back in the other room here in about 3 seconds. So
Thank
watch
you,
my mouth.
Jared.
One,
Thank you,
two,
Jared.
three. Ah. Oh.
I mean, you